Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. My name is Alex and there wasn't too much happening in the news, so we're going to do something a bit different today. Read a question, read some people's responses and reasoning. I'll tell you guys my personal thoughts. Here's today's question. Why are expats now leaving the Philippines? Someone says immigration. There will be a lot more expats leaving due to the so-called new immigration laws being enforced. Some may never even come here because of it. They did away with a 6-month extension, now only 2-month extension at best. If you've been here 1 year, they will take you into their office and ask you multiple questions like, why are you still here? What is your purpose? If you don't have a valid reason, you're gone. Also, they are moving people 1 year or more here to apply for very expensive visas. If you're under 50 years old, you will need to drop 20,000 USD, $10,000 if you're older than 50 years old, into Filipino bank account that you cannot ever touch unless you die or leave the country for good. Many people don't have $20,000 laying around. Plus, in my personal opinion, you really should have no less than $2,000 a month coming in, or you're likely to have a miserable existence here. You need extra for unforeseen instances like hospitalization and whatnot. Can you live on $1,000? Perhaps, but that's a lame life. If you're married to a Filipino GF, and constant rise of inflation will knock a lot of people out of here. So do your homework and be prepared for anything. Good luck. A lot to unpack there, some very good points made, but first let's address the question, why are expats leaving the Philippines? Let's just assume that is true because, let's be honest, we don't really know what the numbers are. I mean, I don't. Maybe if you work for the government, tourism industry, or statistics and all that, you might have an understanding, but I think the regular person, we usually just have our surroundings to go by. But I have seen some videos, at least the thumbnails online. But let's just say that is true. You made some good points regarding immigration. So there aren't any new rules. The government basically wants immigration officers to do a little bit more thorough investigation, asking questions. Let's be honest, the Philippines has the world's best tourist visa. You can come here and still to this day don't have to really leave until up to 3 years, right? You can continuously extend your stay 2 months, 6 months. A lot of people saying you cannot get the 6-month extension anymore. I haven't applied for it personally myself since last year, I believe. Last time I applied, I could still get the 6-month extension. So I can't really say much about that. Also, I know that online is becoming a thing now. You can extend your visa online if you want without going to the office. Anyways, long story short, you can still stay here in the Philippines up to 3 years. So what? You have to extend your visa a couple more times. And even when you factor in the cost, it's still an excellent place to stay in the Philippines. And personally, if that's going to deter you from coming or leaving the country completely, I mean, did you really want to stay here to just an extra trip to the BI immigration? But I do have to admit that the Philippines had a really big draw when it came to that specific thing. So if immigration is going to make this like a really strict thing, not just temporary because of the POGOs and what's going on with all these illegal aliens causing problems, if this stays here long term and if they actually go through with going ahead and reducing that 3-year visa to shorter amount of time, I think Philippines will lose a lot of the people that thought about coming here, stay long term. Now, if you're living here with your girlfriend, your wife, your fiance, if you have business here, then all that stuff is different because you should really apply for the right visa. Someone else said the vast majority of expats currently living in the Philippines are mostly American pensioners and a few Europeans. Most, if not all of them, visited the Philippines for one reason only: easy women. There's literally not a single reason why a young foreigner would spend his hard-earned money in the Philippines when there are far better options in every possible way. The Philippines is not built to cater to foreigners, but rather the hopeless population who don't mind being abused by a corrupt government, and that explains the lack of public transportation, lack of decent roads, slow internet, serious crimes, blackouts, expensive electricity costs, overcharging foreigners, noise and air pollution. There are so many problems in the Philippines. I'm baffled why anyone would spend his or her hard-earned money to be wasted in the Philippines unless they were forced to travel there and they're stuck. Everything is designed to suck money from foreigners and overseas Filipino workers. You are expected to travel there, exhaust your savings while getting nothing in return. Okay, some harsh words. Some people, I guess this person doesn't like the Philippines based on everything he just mentioned. Although I can't really dispute any of the stuff that he said. You know, the pollution is bad. The traffic is horrendous, of course. You can get scammed, but a lot of this stuff, I think you should know before coming to the Philippines. Do your homework, do your research. It's not like a country, most like Western countries, is still in developing phases. There's a lot of mega projects in the pipeline, I should say, that should be coming around the next 10 years or so. It's like, let's not forget, I've seen some photos from just like IT Park 15 years ago was like a field, you know? So it's developing very fast. There's a lot of construction. COVID had a lot to do with it. put a bunch of stuff on pause. They're building new bridges. Internet's gotten better even the past 6 years I was here. Power outages, those kind of stuff, I sometimes hear about. I honest to God, I've only experienced 2 of them in like 5 or 6 years, and they were both less than like 6 or 7 hours, I'll say realistically. But that's just my living experience. I don't know what this guy's talking about. His obviously life in the Philippines isn't very pleasant, you know? So that's fair, that's his experience, but I can only speak for mine. And a lot of people I talk to would agree with a lot of stuff he said, but I think you could mitigate a lot of that stuff, right? So, I mean, any tourist should be aware of scams. Somebody's gonna try to take advantage of you. You could, Thailand, Turkey, Georgia, everywhere I've been to, even Cambodia, any country, Vietnam, if you're in tourist areas, they're going to try to take money from you. A lot of times they don't know they're staying here long term. So if you're staying there regularly, it might get annoying. Yeah, every day you have to like fight off people trying to take money from you. But personally, I think a lot of that stuff you can just simply not get involved or avoid. What else did he say? I can't recall, but that's his experience. Leave your comments down below. So far, what do you agree with mostly? The immigration stuff? Do you agree with the scamming and the infrastructure? And the women, oh, that's one more thing I want to talk about. Yeah, a lot of men do come to the Philippines for the women because the women are very friendly, they're very pretty, they're very feminine, there's a lot of stuff you can say. Some people don't have a great experience with women because, let's be honest, they see a lot of my videos personally with women on the street interviews, but I'm not doing that to say every woman's easy to talk to, every woman's easy to date. That was just my experience, you know. I'm still in my 30s, I'm still relatively, you know, handsome, whatever, and my experience can be very different than someone that, let's say, is nearing their 80s or senior or someone, and they still want to date like somebody in their college years. There's gonna be like obviously, there's gonna be reasons why they're dating you, right? It's not always gonna be romantic, let's say. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next comment. Another person says, because Philippines is fast becoming a superpower and is not cheap anymore. Also, there's threat of China. A couple of very good points made as well. So the Philippines becoming very popular, right? A lot of men and women coming to the Philippines. That's going to raise the prices, not just like tourists like myself. There's a lot of business investing into the Philippines because they know it's developing. So people try to take opportunities and advantage of the country that's developing. People dumping in a bunch of money, and of course that's going to raise the prices. Another great point is the fact that China situation. A lot of people, especially if they're retiring in their like golden years, they don't want to deal with the headache of a potential invasion from a superpower like China itself, and they don't want to be caught up in the middle of all that and not be able to fly back home. Let's say, look what's happening in the Middle East. A lot of flights are canceled. Even when I was there in 2020, when I couldn't leave the country because of, I couldn't even leave with the barangay because I couldn't get to the airport because of COVID and all that. So you don't want to be stuck in a position like that, especially if you don't have money coming in, right? So a lot of things to worry about, and I think that probably has something to do with it as well if there are people leaving the Philippines. Someone says, I wish more expats would leave. I love the culture, the people, the food, etc. Expats seem to be very, very rude and answer sincere questions by other expats in a very snobbish manner. So I would say to the disgruntled, dissatisfied, and unhappy expats to please do the rest of us who do want to be here a huge favor and go back to your respective countries. Salamat. One thing that is clear, and I have to admit, expats communities in the Philippines, we got to do better in the groups. Personally, I've had bad experiences as well, asking simple questions and getting like all these slew of negative comments for no reason. Like, I get not everybody's happy and it may not relate to everyone my question, buddy, simply move on. Like, don't respond, don't read it. If I'm watching something, I don't like it, I just move along. I don't go into the comment section and say, hey, you know, this and that, and just, anyway. So we could do better, definitely. I agree with that. Expat groups in the Philippines, I think as a whole, we could do a lot better to be a lot more positive. And lastly, someone says, my rent here is 200 USD for a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in the Philippines. I'm staying right here. Firstly, buddy, I don't know where you're staying, but let me know the city because I'd love to have a 3-bedroom for 200. I'm paying like, you know, 600 or 700 bucks, whatever. So that's going to depend on where you're living. Cost of living is another big factor why so many people are living in the Philippines. Don't forget, it's a big country, right? And you can live almost anywhere freely and comfortably. And USD goes a lot further if you're not in the major spots like Makati, BGC, you know, in some of the central areas like, you know, IT Park, Ayala Mall areas, Ayala Business Park, where I like all that stuff is going to have a huge impact on the cost of living. If you're eating out at restaurants, fancy Chili's or, you know, Kenny Rogers even is more expensive, you know, than some places back home. So yeah, that's going to affect your bottom line. So the cost of inflation, you could always try to mitigate, manage, cook at home a bit more. And yeah, this person makes a good point. cost of living is a big factor why he stays here, and it seems that he knows exactly how to get the most for his money. Finally, I just want to say my 2 cents. I don't know if expats are actually leaving the Philippines or more coming in. I think during COVID, a lot of people were sitting at home doing nothing. A lot of YouTube channels went up, and a lot of people praised the Philippines, rightfully so, because they were sharing their experiences, what they felt, what their relationship was like, and what the beaches and the places they went to. And, you know, a lot of people want that. So we all came to the Philippines, let's say, I think a bit more than the previous 3 or 4 years before the pandemic. And now that life has gone back to, you know, reality, things are getting back to normal, and people have to go back to work, maybe have to get some more money perhaps. You know, there's a lot of factors why somebody might go back to their home country. I don't really know if they're actually going or coming. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think more people are leaving the Philippines, expats, or coming in? And also let me know which factors do you think are driving this specific thing. Personally, I don't think it's the immigration rules so much. I just feel like, yeah, that could be like a deterrent for some people that have never been here. But if you've been to the Philippines and you love the country and the people and all that, I think a couple extra trips with immigration is definitely worth staying longer. But yeah, let me know your comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, take a second out of your day. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Hopefully tomorrow we can get back to our regular views. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and read some of the top comments from yesterday's video. Yesterday's video kind of goes hand in hand with today's topic because we had over 162, I believe, foreigners arrested for illegal online gambling and gaming operations. So let's go ahead and see some of the top comments. At Vec306 says, I think the Philippines needs to protect themselves from bad characters no matter where they come from. Yeah, I don't think the nationality is really the problem. It's just whoever is causing issues. And I think that's where the line between racism or stereotypes or whatever gets kind of blurred. I don't think anybody hates someone for the color of the skin or their nationality. Not anyone. I mean, personally, it's just when I judge someone, it's basically usually based on what they're doing, not because of the way they look. So yeah, I agree. Quick and Straight says the activities of Chinese citizens in the Philippines has a lot to do with a stricter questioning by immigration staff when you go for your extension. If you're here for a genuine reason and not doing anything illegal, you can answer the questions and nothing much to worry about. Absolutely, exactly what I said earlier. I think you just have to be a little bit more thorough, provide a little bit more reasoning of why you're staying over a year as a tourist in a country. And if you're operating a business or married to someone, then obviously it's best for you and the country itself to go ahead and apply for the correct visas. And lastly, someone says regarding the visas, again, it's the rotten few spoiling it for the many well-intentioned people. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.